If you ask a mainstream doctor how saturated fat is going to affect your health, if it's coming from something like ghee, they're probably going to say, no, stop, wait, heart attack. Okay, but what's actually going to happen here? Is that true? Saturated fat is great. It's important for your brain. It's important for your nervous system. It's important for your hormones. But it can become problematic. Now, it's problematic when it's combined with simple carbohydrates and an avoidance of fiber in the diet. Here's where you end up with issues with things like cardiovascular disease and insulin resistance and dementia. But in the context of a healthy diet and a metabolically healthy individual, it's fantastic. Now, if we look at the traditional world that ghee is coming from, ghee being clarified butter that's had all the milk solids removed. In Ayurveda, ghee is said to strengthen the brain and the nervous system and improve the memory, amongst a whole other host of benefits. And in their vision of things, this is always one of my favorite ways of describing ghee from the Ayurvedic perspective. They said that the grass grows from the sun, so the grass contains the essence of the sun. Then the cow eats the grass and makes milk, so the milk is the essence of the grass, which is the essence of the sun. And then from the milk is made cream, so the cream is the essence of the milk, which is the essence of the grass, which is the essence of the sun. From the cream you make butter, so the butter is the essence of the... You guys get it, right? So eventually from butter, then we get to ghee, and now you're looking at a very pure refinement of solar energy, in a sense. So that to me always was very attractive. And so if we look at some modern research on what happens with ghee and brain health, there was one study done, and I don't think this is a very relevant study, and I'll explain why. This is a study done on rats for 21 days where they fed them ghee and they fed them butter, and they did some tests to see how their memory might change over that time, and they didn't find any changes. They did find, interestingly, the ghee group lost weight, the butter group gained weight. So that's an interesting side note. But the fact is that when you're working on something like cognitive health, 21 days is a very short period of time in which to expect to see a very meaningful change, I would say, especially when we look in a moment at the mechanisms by which it's suspected that ghee and even butter, for that, for as far as that would go, would possibly affect brain health. Now, another more interesting study, which was done on humans, and this was published in the International Journal of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research. And here we take a group of, I believe it was 90 people, men and women, a variety of adult ages, and they split them into three groups. One group just stuck to their regular diet. The second group, these people were having ghee, 2 tablespoons a day, spread apart, one in the morning, one in the evening. And then the third group was having a special ghee that was enhanced by adding into it 8 different Ayurvedic herbs. And this was a combination, forgive me if I totally fumble the pronunciation here, but my understanding is it's called Vacharigrita. And so they looked at what was the result with these people over a period of 30 days. Again, a very short time period when we're looking at progression in cognitive health, right? But they did find improvements in cognitive performance and in memory amongst the people who were having ghee. And the improvement was best amongst the people who were having the medicinal, the herbal ghee. Not quite as good, but still improved amongst the ghee eaters. And then, of course, the people who were not changing anything, nothing changed. One other thing that was found in this study, which they was found interesting that they really went out of their way to mention this, is that they found the people who were having ghee and the herbal ghee found, and this is just quoting directly, they said they found significantly better evacuation of stool. So that points us to the next component of why I think ghee can have a really great effect on brain health. And that is via what has been now commonly known as the second brain, the gut. And, this is a term that's become popularized, calling the gut the second brain in the past couple of years. But if we look at Ayurveda, this is nothing new. It's very understood there that digestive health and cognitive performance are very connected. I was thinking, I have never met somebody in my entire life who has said to me, I really do my best thinking when I'm constipated. I'm guessing you haven't met anybody who said something like that either, because when digestion is working great, your mind is going to work better, not the other way around. So with ghee, we find that it's incredibly high, as well as butter, in butyrate. And butyrate is the preferred fuel source for the cells lining the colon. You give these cells their preferred fuel source, they're able to do a better job at healing the gut. We have a whole video about this that I'll put a link to if you want to take a deeper dive into the gut health benefits of butyrate, because it's pretty powerful. The gut is where you're making a huge amount of your neurotransmitters, especially serotonin is a big one that's heavily produced in the gut. Another element of ghee is that, and I should say here as well, by default, I'm assuming that we're talking here about grass-fed ghee from happy pasture-raised cows, right? This kind of grass-fed ghee is going to contain a good amount of long-chain omega-3s, the EPA and the DHA that you guys hear me so frequently talking about, that are crucial to brain health, that you're not going to find coming from plant sources. The other element here is vitamin K. These kinds of grass-fed dairies are going to have great source of vitamin K2, which is much more important for the body than a vitamin K1 that you find in plants. So vitamin K2 is shown to sharpen memory, also stave off dementia in older adults. Now, some people might also be thinking, well, okay, that all sounds very interesting, but the cholesterol, what are we going to do about the cholesterol? Cholesterol is essential. Again, in the context of a high sugar, refined carbohydrate, junk food diet, it can be problematic because your body is trying to use cholesterol to patch up problems that have been caused, scarring, things that have been caused by the elevated blood sugar that's constantly happening. But cholesterol, when it comes down to it, it's a steroid hormone. It's essential for brain and nerve development. Cholesterol, you need it to make your hormones, and these are hormones that regulate functions throughout the entire body. You don't have cholesterol, you're not going to be doing so great in the hormonal department. And even when we look at breast milk, children who are exposed to cholesterol in breast milk, which is very high in cholesterol, so let's not say anything negative about cholesterol and insult the breast milk made by billions of women around the world. Let's be a little bit respectful here. The cholesterol in breast milk led to these children having better heart health as they grew. And these breastfed children had lower levels of the quote-unquote bad cholesterol, LDL, which, as you may have heard me talk about in other videos, is a little bit more complicated than that, but we'll keep it simple for the sake of today's conversation. And they also had a lower risk of heart disease. So I think it's coming from a number of different directions that ghee can be a very supportive food for brain health over the long term. Have you enjoyed ghee as a brain food? Have you had ghee and noticed a difference? I know for me, when I was in, my early 20s, coming off a number of years of raw foodism and veganism, the first food that really appealed to me outside of that world was ghee. I saw it. I felt drawn to it. Something there was like, wow, that is really calling me in. I have ghee pretty much every single day. For me, it has the effect of giving me a deep vitality feeling. It's a little hard to describe, but a feeling of, I would say maybe a feeling of hormonal robustness that I don't feel otherwise. I've taken time off of it to see what that would be like. And there's something that is definitely missing there for me and that I really enjoy getting from ghee. So that's been my personal experience with it. Let me know in the comments if you've had an experience with it that you'd like to share, or if you haven't had it, but you might, maybe be kind of interested in it. Okay, guys, thanks so much for the great question. Hope you all have a wonderful day and look forward to seeing you again here soon.